So let's go a little further now. I decided I wanted to file a complaint. So I walked into the police station 3 different times. This is one under construction. It's quite a building. And when you go in, you get brought into a center room. There's all kinds of cameras looking at you. To the right-hand side, literally to the east, up higher, are 3 desk corporals, sergeants, constable, that take your complaint as you come in. They had said out loud, "What is your business, Mr. Matheson?" And I said, "I'm here to out the chief of police, Evan Bray, for raping his own daughter's babysitter." That room, when you could have heard a pin drop. No one said anything in the ranks because they all knew about it. And the sad part about it is that 2 of the members up there removed their name tags. I couldn't see their name nor their regimental number. Why? If you didn't commit the offense, why would you do that? Because they knew about it. I was there 3 times, and I asked to see the chief every time. Well, no, he's busy. He can't talk to you. Yeah, he wasn't busy. I'd seen him a little earlier walk into the building. So on my 3rd trip out, I'm just going out the door. No one wants to talk to me. No one wants to take a complaint from me. I'd already been to the Crown Prosecutor's office. Okay, I'll tell you that here and shortly. And this hand went up against the door and said, "Are you Mr. Matheson?" And I turned, it was I guess I could describe it over my years of experience, and because I was a drinker at one time, I was kind of a puff-faced guy. And I said, "Who are you?" I said, "Because of what I'm running into in your city, do you have a card?" And his hand was shaking so bad to go inside his suit jacket to pull this card out. And that was Dean Ray, the Deputy Chief of Police of Regina Police Services, who came up through the ranks with Evan Bray. Do you think he didn't know what went on? You bet he did. And so does several other female police officers as well, Christine Tell in particular. And he hands me a sheet. The sheet's right here beside me. This is part of the documents I was holding to talk to him about. And he handed me a complaint form. I filled it out, and the date was, where'd it go? The date was the 25th of October, 2022, and we hit a violent snowstorm on the way over. And location during your service, specific allegations of misconduct, mobbing, physical threats and intimidation, physical violence and sexual assault. Because of fear for her safety, Miss Gray will remain out of sight until a trial on this sexual assault comes forward. This is what Dean Ray gave me another one because I said I have 2 complaints. It shows my home address. Was anyone involved in the complaint less than 18 years old at the time of the incident? Yes. Babysitter, a minor. Location, Regina, Saskatchewan. Police service, Regina Police Service, Evan Bray. Specific allegations of misconduct. Rape. That's kind of an ugly word, isn't it, people? What, you want me to say sexual assault on a sex worker? Well, this young girl wasn't a sex worker. She was a babysitter. And I have a bunch of photos here of the people that covered this up. And I'm going to talk to you about them because I attempted to talk to them myself while I was there. And 2 of the Yen guys that I would talk to. One is called Trent Stevely, and the other is called Dave Ward. they were both former police officers with the Regina Police Service. In fact, I believe Trent Stevely retired as inspector. But what Trent Stevely didn't know that I was aware when I walked into his room, it's in the Delta Hotel. Pretty fancy little office, but it wasn't staffed properly yet, just the two of them. And he had this kind of poor me thing because he'd had surgery on his knee, and a big fella, and he was really playing that up well. Okay. And when I walked in, I said, do I need to put my phone on record? No. He said, look down there, and he said, on the visual, you see a little red light flashing. That's a visual being recorded. And he said, it's audio. And I said, well, I get a copy of this. Dumb old Don. I believed him. So I sat there in that room talking about everything that, some of it I'm telling you, and he said, I worked with these people. They're friends of mine. What are you doing? And he got a little hostile. Little? He lost it. And if you know anything about an interview, the police officer should never lose it. Well, he was dealing with an old ex-cop, but he wasn't quite aware of that yet. And he went on to threaten me, to say, if you don't tell me who that little girl is, I'm going to charge you. And I said, with what? I'm just going to charge you for withholding evidence. This is a guy that belongs to the Justice Department. This is the guy that has the final say about what's going to happen to the police officers, whether this goes forward. So, Evan Bray and his little band of renown have got this really covered throughout the entire city of Regina. Well, you can't, no matter who you are, you cannot bring a minor's name forward. They're protected. And he should have known that. But what I had known before I walked in was this Trent Stevely had been charged with assault occasioning bodily harm and had been suspended for 15 months. And it was only the reason Evan Bray kept him. Now he owes Evan Bray. And he's really doing a bang-up job about it. I've never been threatened by another police officer in a police office. But it didn't stop there. It went all the way over to Moose Jaw. But this other guy, Dave Wade, he's a big guy. Is that part of the intimidation? Anyways, that was quite a little... They both gave me their cards. I don't trust anymore. I want the card of the person I'm talking to. And this Trent Stevely is there just to make sure police officers don't get investigated. That's the Justice Department in Regina. So when I say who polices the police, who polices our lawyers? Who polices our judges? Who polices anybody in a professional organization except their own? Wow. On my third trip there, I was lucky to get out of there alive. And I know that. And I ended up not only going to Moose Jaw, and that's where I found a superintendent. I tried to get a meeting with the chief. Well, there's a real piece of work, believe me. He's kind of I like to call him Little Lord Fauntleroy because that's who he reminds me of. I'm going to give you the role of these people in Heather Gray's life and explain why they have to cover this up. These are 8.5 by 11 photos, color photos of all the people that covered this up. Okay? I'm going to make sure you get copies of this. And that little guy that I call Little Lord Fauntleroy is called Rick Barassa. I don't know what his chemical makeup, but I don't think he's very straight. And I asked if I could see him, and they said, no, he's busy. Okay? But again, I was in the open hallway. There was probably a good 20 people waiting to be interviewed. And when the lady, a very pleasant lady, said, can I ask why you're here? And I said to out the chief of police, Evan Bray in Regina, for raping his own babysitter, but also for your chief, Rick Barassa, for literally leading a SWAT team against Heather Gray and her 13-year-old son. He never came out, but he's in the room. I watched when they shut the door. So who are these guys? These are people we're supposed to trust. Please don't. There's a picture of Don Morgan here as well. And here's a dandy for you, Scott Moe. Scott Moe got all the documents the others got, 109 pages. And you should see the correspondence to Scott Moe. What do you know about your premier? Well, I know that he was picked up for impaired driving. He was involved in an accident, impaired, causing death. So, and if you ask Scott Moe about the accident where people died, he's going to say, I don't remember. Why in hell would you have a premier that can't remember? Scott Moe's got a lot more to answer than that. And there's a picture here of Christine Tell. She was a corporal with Heather Gray. And how that came about is that another member of the police force had come forward to ask them if they would back her up in reporting police officers that had cheated on their exam, which had moved them up in the ranks. And most of these officers were good old boys that belonged to the hockey team. And Christine Tell asked Heather if she would take it forward. Christine Tell knew what was going to happen, but Heather trusted. Okay. The people that were involved heavily was even Justin Trudeau, your prime minister. Okay. Ralph Goodale. Where's Ralph Goodale now? Well, he sucked up to Justin Trudeau, and as a result, he got an appointment as the High Commissioner to Great Britain. He has a staff of over 300 people because he did a job that Trudeau wanted him to do. Corey Lindskog, not a really bad guy. He kind of tried to contact Heather recently here to see how she was doing because he's afraid of what's coming forward. But here's a real mean dude right here. This is the guy that had more say in it than most. His name is Clyde Wayhill. He's the chief coroner for all of Saskatchewan, yet when he got this appointment, you need to know how he got it. This little small-minded man, he just reminds me of Murray Mandrick. Had no qualifications to become a chief coroner. Another person here is Darren Wilcox. Not as bad as some, but still, he covered it up. He was in a position where he could have done something about it. And there's the big guy right there. Evan Bray, a rapist. The voice of Saskatchewan. Right now, those billboards that are throughout Regina, I have a farm sign. It's 12 by 24 feet. It's 31 feet in the air, and it talks about what my card does.